Ex-Prudential CEO George Ball just did a video interview with Reuters. Now, in this interview, he only answers 3 questions. He answers what is going to happen with traditional markets, how is the presidential election going to affect everything, and then both of these questions culminate into the final question, what should I invest in? What is the best investment going in to 2021? Now, TLDR, massive amounts of money are about to flow into Bitcoin and then spill over to other cryptocurrencies. So you're going to see, before I play you these 2 clips, just so you understand who this guy is, this is the former CEO of the largest American and largest global financial investment company in the world. Prudential Financial is the largest insurance company in the United States, with total assets under management amounting to approximately $1.4 trillion US dollars. So, if anybody has quality insights into where you need to move your money, it's this guy. So with all that being said, let's watch 2 clips. You need to watch the first clip so you understand what he's thinking. He's going to answer 2 questions. Before you watch the second clip where he actually answers the question, what should I invest in? Like the video, support the channel. Clip number 1.
The S&P 500 flat Friday afternoon amid concerns about economic growth. Our guest today, George Ball of Sanders Morris Harris, says summertime is no time to kick back. Let's see what he means by that. He joins us from Basalt, Colorado. Welcome, George. Now, you say don't kick back. It's time to take a look at your portfolios and possibly make adjustments or readjustments. What do you currently see? What's a scenario you see that would justify investors making such moves right now?
Well, the market right now is what people want to call the summer doldrums. Really, I think the market is suffering from the boredom of a set of knowns. COVID will be with us through the first quarter of next year. There will be a vaccine. You've got a wash of liquidity, which is really what's driving and holding the stock market up right now. The risk of an election, but really with 71% probability that Biden will win, 29% probability that Trump will win. That's pretty much a given right now. So the market's looking for, or is waiting for, a new spark. And that spark's likely to come into ignite, as it often does, right after Labor Day. So the time to reposition the portfolio is before the fuse is lit, or when the fuse is lit and hasn't exploded yet, which is probably now, Fred.
Well, George, given the scenario that you just outlined, what moves should investors make right now? I'm assuming it's predicated on a Biden-Harris win?
It's predicated on the Irish punters, the Irish bookmakers odds, which are usually right, about 2.5 to 1 that Biden wins. A Biden win is not in and of itself a catastrophe for the stock market. If you believe that lower taxes are good for corporate earnings, well, you would like Trump to win, but the announced Biden tax policies are about as Biden benign, or at least as Democratic benign as you're going to get. So what's going to happen that changes? I think that both traders and investors are going to worry about what happens when you can't kick the can down the road in terms of stimulus or subsidizing people any longer. And the approach of the end of that road is going to be a lot closer by the fourth quarter than it is now. And therefore, both traders and investors should and probably will realign their portfolios substantially.
Okay, so according to him, all of this is going to make way more sense and just become more obvious after Labor Day and as we head in to the end of Q4. Now, Trump, Biden, Biden, Trump, that's not the point. The point is that all of this liquidity that's being injected into the stock market, you can't kick the can down the road forever. Smart people realize this. So, what's the answer? What should I invest in?
Well, George, what assets should investors get into, say, outside of equities?
I've never said this before, and I've always been a blockchain, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin uh, opponent. But if you look right now, the government can't stimulate the markets forever. The liquidity flood will end. And sooner or later, the government's got to start paying for some of the stimulus, for some of the deficits, for some of the well-deserved, very smart subsidies that it's providing to people. Are they going to raise taxes that high? Or if not, are they going to print money? If they print money, that debases the currency. And probably even things like TIPS, Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, can be corrupted. So the very wealthy investor or the trader probably turns to Bitcoin or something like it as a staple.
Wow, I never thought I'd hear you say that. I mean, we heard Jamie Dimon talk about Bitcoin before.
Jamie's at least a partial convert. I'm not sure that he's a total convert. And then the notion isn't to hide or to seek a tax refuge, but to have something that can't be undermined by the government and that won't become worthless if the currency becomes worthless, or at least if enough Robin Hooders happen to believe that. If the Robin Hooders don't want to trade stocks as they have, where are they going to put their money? There are no yields today. And so Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency becomes a very attractive, either long-term, I want to make a safe haven for my money, or a short-term speculative bet. And I think it's a good, I think it's where many people will turn after Labor Day, Fred.
So it's Bitcoin, huh? Well, thanks, George, for your investing tips. Our thanks to George Ball of Sanders Morris Harris. I'm Fred Katayama in New York. This is Reuters. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right. So with all that being said, let me share with you some tweets that I've been tweeting out over the last couple of days. You know, if you're not following us on Twitter, it's a great way to get our thoughts on any given point during the day. We survived the bear market. Next few years are going to be totally different than the last few years. We're all in the mindset of just bear market mindset still. We're in a bull market now, and it seems like things are popping off every single day. I mean, I'm looking at CoinMarketCap. Probably can go up a little bit more from here as me looking at everything, and that seems to be the case. Just all these coins, especially DeFi coins, popping off. There's even, yes, DeFi coin does exist, and yes, it's pumping 500% today. It feels like we're early. It feels like we're on the cusp of something. And speaking specifically now on other coins, you know, it's just this whole DeFi thing really did take me by surprise. But to me, it's incredibly bullish because it just speaks to how much people want to speculate on crypto assets. I mean, I like this tweet. Imagine not spreading out at least some of your funds into DeFi projects right now after seeing this graph. Just the amount of money locked in DeFi. And by the way, new milestone today, 6.1 billion locked in DeFi, and you can see how that has progressed. I remember this little peak down here. I remember when that was a big deal. And just for a little bit more context, this time flies between DeFi milestones. So it took 160 days for 100 million to be locked in DeFi. It took 495 days after that to reach 500 million, and then 263 days after that to reach 1 billion locked in DeFi. So that was a total of 917 days for 1 billion. Then only 146 days after that, we reached 2 billion. Then only 20 days after that, we reached 3 billion. 4 days, 4 billion, 12 days, 5 billion. And then it only took 2.2 days to reach 6 million, where we are right now. So, I mean, come on, definitely there's going to be a pullback sometime. Everybody knows how these markets work. And nobody can time them, right? But you don't think, like, after the next serious dip, there's going to be a massive buy the dip situation for Bitcoin. And, you know, honestly, you don't think people are going to take 5% of less in the money they're allocating, you know, for like very high risk? You don't think they're going to put it in DeFi or altcoins? I think that's obvious. Again, when the general public gets back into the market, when it starts really ramping up, and the rate increasing like we've seen with DeFi, when that happens with people from the general public coming in, you bet they're going to be buying Bitcoin. They're going to be buying all these coins. So this is a great time to be involved in this space. And with that being said, guys, appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hey, make sure you click the notification bell, then click all if you want to be updated with, we make a video every day. You can make sure you're the first to comment and like the video. See you tomorrow.